Today we want to talk about summarization. Today's objective is to summarize the elements of plot development in various works of fiction. Summarize, paraphrase, synthesize text in ways that maintain meaning and logical order within a text and across text. The elements of a short story are the plot, theme, setting, character, and conflict. The plot shows how the story happened. What is plot? The plot is the structure of the story, how the story is made up. Here are the parts of the plot. You have your exposition, where the main character is at the beginning of the story. What is the setting at the beginning of the story? Your diagram goes up. Number 2, which is your rising action. What events happen after the exposition and before the climax? Continue up the diagram. We have the third one, climax. When does the main character face their problem? This is the turning point of the story. Things will never be the same for the character. Now we follow down the plot diagram to the falling action. The fourth one, what happens immediately after the climax? We'll go down and across to our resolution. What happened at the very end of the story? Move over to 6. What was our conflict? What was the major problem in the story? And this is your plot diagram. What is the exposition? The beginning of the story, which introduces characters, setting, and tone. Exposition, this usually occurs at the beginning of a short story. Here the characters are introduced. We also learn about the setting of the story. Most importantly, we are introduced to the main conflict and the main problem. What is rising action? The plot becomes increasingly complicated. Various problems arise. In the main part of the story, where the problem rises and escalates, this is where the plot tends to be filled with twists, turns, and complication. What is the climax? The high point of the story. This is the turning point of the story, the emotionally high point. The main character comes face to face with the antagonist for the last time. Usually, the main character will change in some way. What is the falling action? Action following the climax leads to the end. Falling action is the part that follows the climax and moves to the plot to the final conclusion. What is the resolution? Problems are solved. Actions come to an end. The resolution of the story is the part where the main conflict is resolved. What is the theme? Message about life. What the work is about. What the main character learns. The theme. The story's main idea. The message writers want to communicate to tell the story. The central idea of a story. The theme is about life or human nature. Theme is not stated directly but must be inferred. It's not a moral lesson or a rule of living. What is tone? It tells us what the author thinks about his or her main character. The author's attitude, feelings toward the story or readers. Here are some of the common tones. Jubilant, limiting, livid, odd, ambivalent. These are some of the tones how the author feels about the character. What is mood? The effect of the writer's words in reading. How the writer's works make you feel. Mood. Mood describes the emotions felt while reading, the general atmosphere created by the author's words and imagery. Mood generally covers an entire work. Example of mood is scary, romantic, violent, hopefully mysterious or joyful. That's the mood. What is setting? Place and time. Where and when the story takes place? At the beach on a summer day. What are the characters? A person or animal in the story. You have a static character, dynamic character, flat character, and a round character. Your main characters are the protagonist, which is the main character of the story. Also, the hero or character the audience is supposed to feel mostly sympathetic for. Not always. For example, the main character could be a social killer, antagonist, primary adversary of the protagonist, sometimes the villain. Who is the protagonist? The main character, hero of the story, was an antagonist, opposes protagonist, which is the bad guy. What is conflict? A struggle between opposing forces in a story. For example, person against person, person against self, person against society, person against nature. Your conflict is a problem in the story that protagonists face. 2 categories, 4 kinds of conflict. All stories have one. Most have several. External conflict, man versus man. The main character is in the conflict with another character, human or non-human. Man versus nature. The main character is a conflict with the forces of nature which serve as the antagonist. Man versus society. The main character is in a conflict with a larger man-made source or group, society, culture, religion, peers, school, etc. Internal conflict, man versus self. The main character experiences some kind of inner conflict, like making a difficult decision or dealing with a personal problem. Now we have paraphrasing, where you write in your own words. A paraphrase is your own sentence in your own words or essential information and ideas expressed by someone else, presented in a new form. One way to borrow from a source when quoting. A detailed restatement, not a summary, which focuses on one main idea. 5 steps to an effective paraphrasing. Reread the original passage until you understand the full meaning. 2. Set the original aside and write your own paraphrase on a note card or in the margin of the passage. 3. Jot down a few words to help remind you and how you want to use the text. 4. Compare your notes to make sure it is accurate. 5. Use quotation marks to identify any unique terms or phrases. Your summary. A summary, synopsis, or recap is a short version of the original, such as simplification, highlights the major points from the much longer subject, such as text, speech, film, or even the purpose is to help the audience get the gist in a short period of time. Paraphrase. Paraphrase is a statement of a text or passage using other words. The term paraphrase means additional manner of expression. Examples of paraphrase. The original text. Many infectious diseases have disappeared because of significant advances in medical research in the past decade. When you paraphrase, you should read as follows. Since medicine has improved considerably in the past 10 years, many communicable diseases have ceased to exist. Thank you.